Hi guys, this is Danush again here. We're in the Soundcast third episode, and this is we have Mega and Harshita with us. So this episode would be about a non-engineer doing an MBA at SM Sound, and we'll get Harshita today.
Hi Meera, would you like to introduce yourself? Sure. So my name is Meera. I am from Delhi. I did my undergraduation in architecture. I had 1 year of work experience, and after that I'm a second student of the street.
Yeah, so she's moving out of MBA. It's the last few days in college, and So how did you get to know about SMC? Because a lot of non-engineers don't really know about SMC.
So I think it was just a simple Google search honestly about the top 10 institutes of building an MBA in India. And we realized that the IITs are there in the top 10. Two of the IITs were there. So that was a bit surprising because naturally we did not know about that. So yeah, then a lot of videos and going through the placement reports, the statistics, how the academic curriculum has been. That's how I mentioned about it.
Yeah. And what made you shift from like architecture to MBA?
I think I always wanted to do management actually. So even when I was doing architecture, I had this internship phase where I was managing multiple teams and cross-functional teams and coordinating with them and ensuring that work was getting done. And I realized that more than the design aspect of it, it was the managerial aspect that I was enjoying. So did my research, tried to understand what happens in management, and realized it's probably something which I'd be more interested in. So far, no regrets. I do enjoy it more than I did architecture. But yeah, that's how it is.
And so, like where did you do your summers? What kind of projects will you? Because we're basically known as an operations college. So I'd like to know what's your perspective on how it shaped up your journey.
I'll just take my internship experience. So I interned with Asian Paints and it was in the operation and supply chain because yes, SGM Sound is known as one of the leading colleges for that. And I did have this apprehension that it's a very different domain from what I am because I am very used to people facing roles rather than being a client. But I joined my company and I realized that it was very similar. It might also be a thing that I got left out because I interned with Asian Paints, which was at that time, and still is, working a lot on the home decor sector. So my internship was with Sleek, which is the modular kitchen sector. So everything that was happening in the factory, my day one of them trying to explain to me the terminologies and everything, I was already aware of it. So it was much easier for me. But even talking from a non-engineer's perspective, trying to shift to a whole different domain. When we were having our academics and everything, I used to have this apprehension. Everyone is an engineer. Everyone around me has probably already dealt with these terms. They already know these things and have a certain background in these things. But the way you are taught here, you're taught from the scratch. There's nothing like they've presumpted that we already would be knowing this and hence we are going to skip it. There's never been anything like that. So everything kept me well equipped, whatever I needed to do.
Yeah, so what was like the intimidating thing? Like you just entered into a pool of engineers. So how did you navigate through all of that? What was like? Did you find something too technical or like intimidating for someone?
Honestly, more than intimidating, I was like, I know I'm going to stand out because of this. So most of my introductions, even when a faculty would ask us for an introduction, I would say that I have done pre-architecture from a university, and they immediately would remember me. And then for the remaining part of the class, they would refer to me as the architect whenever they had to ask me a question. So that made me stand out actually. So more than intimidating, it kind of gave me a different sense of confidence because people would remember me, at least for the duration of that class.
Mega, I was just wondering, how is the academics different in architecture and how is it different in MBA, which is more rigorous?
Architecture is very rigorous.
Architecture is not.
Architecture is very rigorous.
No, sure.
But in terms of academics, I always start my answer with this whenever someone asks me the difference. For me, even this normal setting of sitting in a class was something new. It never had this table and chair concept. We used to have this huge drafting boards and we used to stand there 5 hours and we used to work on it. So this whole concept of sitting in the class for 2 hours and just listening to the professor say something is completely new. In terms of the structure of the academics, there actually, surprisingly, there have been a few concepts which have been similar. So, for instance, in architecture, you learn a little bit of everything. So, there's something about civil engineering, something about sociology, and all of that. And then when I came to Western Soap and I had my one, I think there was this, I don't remember the subject, but it has come up so many times now, like the Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
It's the OBHR one.
OBHR, you also
Marketing
see
as
that in
well.
marketing. Yeah. So it's there in multiple subjects, and I was already aware of it from my sociology perspective. And I also think there was like inherently there are some similarities in both the things because you have to be able to communicate. You have to communicate well in both the subjects, and that is something which is similar and which also helped me in MBA because I was already trained at it in architecture.
Yeah, like you said, managers do need soft skills a lot. But I agree with the river part, academic river part. But I think MBA is much more than academics. It's about
That's true. It's
learning, putting your hands dirty, getting your hands dirty, doing a lot of things. So, what other things did you involve yourself in apart from academics? Probably AdCom. I know you're part of the AdCom, so something like that.
As a part of the admissions team, I'm not anymore, we have different admissions team. I was part of it last year, and I think those couple of months that I was with the admissions team, if I have to define the moment, it would be that one. Because you are like constantly handling multiple things, you're handling multiple stakeholders, and that is something which I know at the management level also would come in handy enter the corporate world. So there was a lot of handling, there was a lot of negotiations, there was a lot of standing for your team, when you have to be firm and all of that. And just trying to shift a discussion or a decision to the other side of the table when you're seeing it's not happening in your favor. So all of these skills definitely are going to be very important.
I mean, I remember texting me at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah,
You
actually,
must have got like
Oh, there were not. In fact, there was one email which we had received at 2 a.m. in the morning and we reverted right back. And then there was this appreciation email in return. Thank you so much for responding even at 2 a.m. Like, yeah. So, yes.
yeah. For information, Mega. I think Mega was the first one I actually talked to in SOM when I came in for my interview. And yeah, you were the one that directed me towards and because I was pretty close because I'm from Chennai, so I didn't really know Hindi much back then. Everybody around me was talking Hindi and you only directed me towards that. And yeah, and one more thing, since you were in the AdComs, you would know like this year SOMs opened up for the non-engineers as well. So how is I know I'm pretty sure you won't know the ratio of the non-engineers application time. But how do you think last year's, what do you think is the prospects of a non-engineer joining this SOM?
So far, you can see that engineers do dominate the batch so far. And that was also because of the way the eligibility criteria. So you needed a minimum of 4 years of education, which is like I had 5 years in architecture, but it's very rare to see anything more than 4 years for someone who's not an engineer. But this year onwards, we are actually very hopeful in terms of the kind of applications that the team might have received. Because last year itself, there were a lot of queries that we had regarding people who were non-engineers asking about their prospects. They were asking if they were eligible to apply here. There was in fact calls about people saying that if they do a master's this year, can they be eligible next year? So they were already preparing for it. Right? So, and we used to just tell them that that's the admissions criteria this year, we cannot count it for next year and all of that. But there were people who were so eager, so I hope that those people come here and they get to experience this. Because it is actually a great place for a non-engineer to be because there are so many departments that are here, which are not just engineering departments. And when you enter your second year, you realize that you can actually take a break from these departments.
Okay.
So it's great for non-engineers.
So it's a side question. Have you taken any courses in the design department?
No, not this time. Because the thing is some kind of issues, but no, I couldn't.
Oh, so you wanted to actually take it.
I did go through not just design. There was some like this course elective on pottery making. There are these
Oh, pottery.
really
Yeah,
hands-on
that's
electives.
something that's on high demand.
There's this. Then there are some. I think some history of India, something related to that in the
Okay.
HSS college. So you have many interesting topics. You find something worth your interest.
So what apart from academics and the editor, what did you do in your leisure?
Here?
In sports?
So sports, yes, it's very underutilized by me. I'll just tell you that. But lately we started going out for swimming and playing badminton. But then there are these cultural events that keep happening at STM, some of the ideal events. But one thing which, so as an architect now, I don't think you can take that away from me. I just get excited by architecture and buildings. So at this point, I have probably explored every nook and corner of the campus at 3 a.m. in the night, just walking around and, at some terrace or some just normal roads and all of that. So that is something that spent a lot of time, apart from the sports industry.
So having said that, what is your like favorite spot in the campus? Because I have a few. Like, which is that place that you often visit, and what's that place that is quite close to you?
I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say. Am I? Okay. No, there's this, it's the design party. Yeah, it's a big thing. I don't know if you've seen it.
No,
Yeah, I have seen it. Okay. So it's a beautifully designed. So there is this terrace that it has. It actually has multiple terraces and different areas. So slowly at each level you find something interesting. But it has this terrace and you get a very beautiful view of the Powai skyline over there. And you have this, there are small, I don't know how to explain it, but there are small elevated podiums kind of things where you can sit and you can just look at the view and everything, and that's a beautiful place to be with your friends until the guard comes and asks you to leave, but it's still open so everyone can visit it.
So that's something I didn't know. Maybe I should try it. So a bit more lighter tone. So MBA journey. What was the most unexpected or the funniest thing that's happened to you?
So I have a few MBAs in my family and in my friends as well, and they used to all talk about how rigorously academics are. How they used to have like 100 classes in whatever number of hours they had. And then I came here and I saw our academic schedule. Each section had like 4 hours of classes, and then there were these, you had time to do other things for the entire day. And that was very unexpected and a very nice surprise for me. Because again, one of the previous questions you asked had more rigorous academics, right? So I came from this concept where we had 5 hours for one student, and then I'm coming here 4 hours of entire day class. So that was very nice for me.
What is probably the one tip that you would like to tell students that are preparing to college?
Right now.
Especially for the knowledge.
Yeah, because
So for non-engineers, I'll tell you one thing. It's very common to be in a pool of engineers when you're giving an interview, and not just for STM, so even for other institutes, IIMs as well. Because at least that's what I experienced. It's the ratio might definitely be much smaller, but it still happens. Like engineers do dominate. So your plus point or something that will make you stand out is the fact that you are a non-engineer. So when you are talking about why MBA, make sure that you talk about the fact that you are a non-engineer and how your interests align in both the domains, in management and whatever your undergraduation was. Because that makes them memorable. They're so used to listening to the similar kind of introduction. The moment they hear something new, they get very interested, and that's how the entire interview hopefully would get driven. So that does help you. So leverage it. It's not a weakness. It's actually a good point.
yeah, that's also very very good because in our batch, in the first year batch, we have Naman. I think we have a CFA level 3, and he gets a lot of attention when professors walk into the class and the professors already know that we have a CFA level 3 in our batch, and from what I know, even other IIMs got the level 3 tag, and we have someone like that. So the peer learning thing is very apparent in our batch. So Naman goes around helping a lot of people. That's a very, very big thing.
Even we were actually very intrigued by Naman's CFA qualification when we were preparing, like releasing the shortlist. That's true.
What is the most funniest thing that has happened here in Museum South? Like that.
Okay, the funny, yeah, the core memory would actually be, it's a weird memory. But when I was in the admissions team, and we used to be, working on a lot of things till late in the night at STM Soaps, STM Soaps building. And we used to always, regardless of how tired we were, whatever was happening, whether we had an exam the other day, and we just then sat there for 6 hours working on what we were working on. But we used to always end our day with this Instagram kind of thing. Ek machli pani mein, which I'll make everyone say right now.
Okay.
Cameraman.
I think,
come on.
yeah, cameraman.
Come fast. एक मछली
पानी में गई.
Chapak.
दो मछली पानी में गई
पानी में गई.
Chapak.
तीन मछली तीन मछली
तीन मछली.
Pani mein gayi.
पानी में गई चपाक
Okay.
पानी को all
You have everything.
yes
You
okay
have to do it again.
yeah
You can do it again.
okay so एक मछली
पानी में गई.
Chapak.
दो मछली पानी में गई
पानी में गई.
Chapak.
तीन मछली
तीन मछली.
Pani mein gayi.
पानी में गई चपाक
चपाक.
Chapak.
चार मछली
चार मछली.
Pani mein gayi.
पानी में गई
Hey.
It's also चपाक
Okay, you're out. Are we continue?
one or five
Continue.
ठीक है. One से.
नहीं one से okay
एक मछली.
पानी में गई चपाक दो मछली पानी में गई चपाक
Chapak.
तीन मछली
Pani mein gayi.
पानी में गई चपाक
Chapak.
चार मछली
चार मछली. That's it.
चार मछली
Sentence.
again let's just complete the game
Ah,
okay एक मछली
Pani mein gayi.
चपाक दो मछली
मछली.
पानी में गई
Chapak.
चपाक नहीं
Ay.